Hello, everyone. Lane Ridenauer here for our combined Sunday school classes from First Presbyterian Church here in Greensboro. With our campus and our buildings closed for the time being, we're continuing to offer our Sunday worship via live stream and our Sunday school classes here virtually, and we're so glad that you're able to be with us. We want to remind you, as usual, the church is not a building, it's a people. In the Bible, the word church is the translation of the Greek term ecclesia, which means a calling out. It never refers to a building or a meeting place, but always to the people, the ones who are called out of the world's society by God, calling them into His service. We'll begin our Sunday school class today with the singing of a hymn, Softly and Tenderly, Jesus is Calling. It's a classic hymn of invitation from the 19th century, written in 1880 by Will Thompson. Now, in addition to being a composer of secular and patriotic and gospel songs, Mr. Thompson was also a music publisher. When his songs were rejected by the publishers of the day, he decided to form his own publishing company. And by the 1880s, that company had expanded beyond publishing to include the sale of pianos and organs and other instruments and supplies. The Thompson brand of piano was still sold even in this region up until 1959. Back in the late 1800s, many worshipers attended revival services, and that tradition included the extended invitation hymn, sometimes called an altar call hymn, at the conclusion of the service, where those who were in attendance might be called on by the Holy Spirit to come down to the altar and make either a profession of faith or a recommitment of their lives. Softly and Tenderly is the quintessential altar call song. The Reverend Carlton Young, who was the editor of the United Methodist Hymnal years ago, described Softly and Tenderly as a lullaby, a typical lullaby in the gospel fashion that characterized Jesus as a mother, rocking and comforting her child. I'll put the words up on the screen, so do feel free to sing along. This is Softly and Tenderly. Softly and tenderly Jesus is calling, calling for you and for me. Patiently Jesus is waiting and watching, watching for you and for me. Come home, come home, ye who are weary, come home. Earnestly, tenderly, Jesus is calling, calling, O sinner, come home. Why should we tarry when Jesus is pleading, pleading for you and for me? Why should we linger and heed not his mercies, mercies for you and for me? Come home, come home, ye who are weary, come home. Earnestly, tenderly, Jesus is calling, calling, O sinner, come home. Time now is fleeting, the moments are passing, passing from you and from me. Shadows are gathering, deathbeds are coming for you and for me. Come home, come home, ye who are weary, come home. Earnestly, tenderly, Jesus is calling, O sinner, come home. Oh, for the wonderful love he has promised for you and for me. Though we have sinned, he has mercy and pardon for you and for me. Come home, come home, ye who are weary, come home. Earnestly, tenderly, Jesus is calling, oh, sing.